going live on Facebook, preparing to live stream the meeting, setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. And done, we are redirecting to Facebook Live page. And ladies and gentlemen, we are officially on Facebook. Do not click leave the meeting, click got it. It's just been
all right, sorry guys, just briefly. Do not leave the meeting, do not click leave the meeting. He'll be back in a minute, and I believe it's live. Live. Okay, he's back. He's back. Are you back, my friend? And live are we?
Yes, sir. Okay. So sorry about that. I was actually explaining to everyone that you must not click leave, but click got it. And whilst doing that, I clicked leave.
Click leave.
But thank you so much, everybody, for your patience. I am Ashley Sekel. Today, I'm going to be hosting our lovely guest presenter together with my brother, Ulienda Nolobe Shupin, whose voice you've already heard. We have an interesting topic today. We're talking all things money and more money. Do say as I not, do as I say, not as I do. You could not have put it any better, Betty. What an interesting topic we're going to be covering today. But before we do, if you could permit me to share with you some few exciting announcements. I hope everybody is nice and warm wherever you are. It is a bit cold in South Africa. We do take cognizance of the fact that 230 is a multinational and international platform. So there are people from everywhere here. We appreciate that. If you haven't yet, please share the link. Lee is going to post the link onto the chat section. Copy the link, put it on your status. Share it with somebody. Share it with somebody. Your boyfriend might learn from here and make lots of money after this presentation. And then there will not be a need for you to dump him. He is a nice guy. He looks good. He dresses well, and he is muscular. But for now, he just doesn't have the money, and you're contemplating on dumping him. No need to. You don't need to dump him so that you settle with somebody that looks like myself or Leander. No, stick to somebody that looks nice. Just send him this link, and then he will come in here and learn how to make money. I hope I'm loud and clear. And I see that the numbers are actually already increasing. 36. Let's keep taking them up. Let's take them up. It'd be very nice if we could reach 100. It's just I'm not at an auction, but I would have said, no, we're not going to start the presentation until we hit a certain number. But that's not why we're here. We are 230 Conversations. Our platform is all about thoughts, discussion, and facilitation. And these are our announcements. Please do follow us on YouTube. Please do follow us on Instagram and follow us on Facebook as well. Conversations, SDA on YouTube. At SDA Advertise, SDA _advertise on Instagram. At 2:30 Conversations on Facebook, where we are currently live. At 230 Conversations on TikTok. See, the numbers are going up. I love the fact that you guys are sharing the links with your partners. Share it with your grannies as well as your cousins, right? Because the problem is you're going to join this platform. You will learn how to fight inflation. And then you're going to start making a significant amount of savings. Then your cousins and your brothers and your sisters will be jealous of you. And then lawyer. Because when you are now making money and they not. So bring them on as well so that they learn how to fight inflation. So send the link to your brothers, send it to your cousins, your half sisters, your step brothers, your stepsisters, and most importantly, your ex-partner. How to fight inflation with Nozi Van Heerden. That is our upcoming program today. It is going to be an exciting one. She's already on the platform. She's been here before, phenomenal speaker. Please be sure to follow her on a YouTube page as well, where she's always constantly posting some helpful information on matters of this nature. And I'm sure that she will certainly share the details as to her social media platforms as soon as she begins with the presentation. So yes, last week we did talk about tithe and offering, me, the church, and money. The previous week we were tackling the issue of entrepreneurship, and we had a practical guide from Elder Chakarisa. And today it says Black Poverty Personal Experience, but that's not our title for today. Our title for today says How to Fight Inflation. 28th of May is next week, and it says Money and Its Glasses. How broke are you not? Yeah, tricky and down. The 4th of June, we're worshiping in pain, Buffett. We are worshiping in pain. The 11th of June, we're talking about faith, the burden of believing. The 18th of June, what to wear, the voice to the dress. 25th of June, generational curses, the past in the present. In the present, be sure to familiarize yourself with the upcoming topics, gear up for them, and we will see you in the coming week as well. We've got a disclaimer there at the top of the page. It's a pretty straightforward disclaimer, but for purposes of placing it on record, it says, the views that are expressed during the conversations are not those of the those of the individuals that are so expressing them, and are not a reflection of 230 Conversations, nor the reflection of the Seventh-day Adventist Church and or any of its affiliates' position and or views. And whereas participants are encouraged to share their opinions and views without fear, 230 Conversation abhors and shall not tolerate hate speech, ad hominem attacks. Ad hominem means that you are no longer dealing with the subject matter, but you are now attacking the individual that is making that comment. So that is not tolerated on this platform, and or any other conduct or views that seek to infringe on an individual's God-given and constitutional right to human dignity. So let us respect one another and be respectful in our comments. 230 Conversations, its sponsors and affiliates shall not be held liable for any views, opinions, conduct, and or expressions that seek to undermine and infringe on God-given and constitutional rights. Before they are in the Constitution, they are coming from God. So let us respect each other, because we are all human beings. We've been given the ability to think, and let us appreciate that. 230 Conversations aligns itself and advances the position of the Seventh-day Adventist Church's doctrines and practices. We are unapologetically affiliated, and we seek to perpetuate the doctrines of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. For airtime contributions, please do contact Mtandazo or myself. These are our numbers on the screen: 073-974-8498. That is Brother Mtandazo's number. And mine is 076-890-5511. Sisters, we know that myself and Mtandazo look and we smile very nicely, but please, these numbers are only for airtime contributions and nothing else. And try and text during working hours, and do not put us in precarious positions where we now need to explain ourselves, where we would rather not do that. Siabonga, your man is there, out there for you, waiting for you. It might not be us. Hallelujah. Stop share. Thank you so much, everybody, and welcome to 230 Conversations. For those that are still joining, today we are joined by Sis Nozi Van Heerden, Mrs. Van Heerden. Upela says, send me a text to me. It says, oh my word, you are a problem. Please, Buffett, I'm just creating light moments here. Don't take things too hard. Van Heerden, Nozi Van Heerden has always been on our platform. She has presented on this platform before, and it's always a blessing to have you here, Sis Nozi, Mrs. Van Heerden. Your inputs on various subjects are always invaluable and appreciated on this platform. And we know that you've got a passion for things that are along the lines of the subject matter that is going to be discussed today. So thank you so much for taking out some of your time to come and spend it with the guys here. I'm not sure whether your video is on. I need to spotlight you at this present time, wherever you might be. There we go. I am going to spotlight her. Spotlight for everyone. That balaclava that you see on her head is because she has a project that she needs to attend to as soon as we are done here. It's called G4S, and let us close our eyes for a word of prayer as we invite the Lord to be part of our convocation, and we hand over to Sis Nozi. Our eyes are closed and we are praying. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for your loving kindness and mercy. This platform that you have given us to be able to express ourselves, learn, dear God, to be holistic Christians that are not only benefiting people spiritually, but in all aspects of life, dear God. We pray that you might inspire every thought, remind Sis Nozi of everything that she had planned, dear God. Grant her divine eloquence, dear God, and articulation, so that we might learn from what she has to share with us this afternoon. When all is said and done, dear God, we pray that everybody on this platform, listening in on Facebook, and those that are going to be listening after the fact, might be edified, and that your name may be glorified. This being our humble prayer in the mighty name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. Sis Nozi, over to you. And good people, I've been asked to remind you to please keep your videos off. You can use the chat section, but the speaker will only attend to those when we have our comment and question segment. May God bless you. Sis Nozi, over to you.
Great. Ashley, can you see my screen before you leave?
Yep, I can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so our topic today, thank you so much. And thanks for everyone for coming and those on Facebook as well. So our topic today is how to fight inflation. How to fight inflation. Just a disclaimer, I know you're sick of disclaimers, but I also have to put mine. I am not a financial advisor. If you need financial advice, please go online to the Financial Planning Institute and look for a financial advisor near you. Having said that though, I am very passionate about personal finance. Anybody who handles money must know money matters. So money is not only for the professionals, it's not only for advisors and bankers and accountants. Every single person who handles money, who earns money, who works for money, needs to know how to handle it. And so that's why I'm passionate about the subject. I blog about it, I vlog about it, and I speak about it as well. So let's get right into our topic for today. What is inflation? I don't think I need to explain this one, but in case someone, is living a nice life and they haven't felt its effects, inflation in a nutshell, okay, there's a more technical explanation, but I won't go there. Inflation is basically the increase in the prices of goods and services in an economy. And what inflation does is it reduces your buying power. So all of us know 100 Rand 10 years ago bought more stuff than 100 Rand today. And that's because of inflation. So here we go. Look at the prices of stuff in the 80s. So with 100 Rand, I think you could fill a trolley with 100 Rand. Yeah, but today you can't even fill a plastic bag. Okay, so as you can see, some of these prices, like tennis biscuits was 79 cents. I don't think you can even find a sweet today that is worth 79 cents, right? So that is the effect of inflation, okay? So, and how is inflation measured? So there is something called the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. What it is the government, okay, takes a basket and fills it with goods that are commonly bought by South African households. So that basket will have different things. It'll have sugar, it'll have whatever people buy on a month-to-month basis. And then they track the movement of the prices of the things that are inside that basket. So then they can draw a graph, and as it goes up and down. So that index, which is the average price of the goods, is what is used to measure inflation. So when they say CPI has gone up, they mean that basket of goods that South African households consume has actually gone more expensive. If it goes down, it means the goods overall have become cheaper. But there's a but. The most recent CPI figure, which I tried searching for April 1, I guess it's not out yet, but I found the March CPI, which is 5.9%, right? And it's close to 6%. So the South African Reserve Bank tries to keep CPI at around 6%. So we are dangerously close to 6. And if we go above, yeah, then things are going to be tough. So in March already, we were sitting on 5.9%, right? But then a lot of people say, no, but my personal inflation is not 5.9%, right? So guys, the 5.9% is the national average. And if you know how averages are calculated, you add a whole bunch of things together and then you divide, right? So some of the prices in the basket will be higher than 5.9% in terms of the increase, right? So you have experienced, like in the past 12 months, petrol has risen by 32% and diesel by 35%, right? Cooking oil, okay, because of what's going on internationally with the war, etc. Price of cooking oil has risen more than double, right? And then in 2021, electricity went up by 15.6%. Public transport is up by 12.6%. And these are only 4 things. I haven't mentioned clothing. I haven't mentioned school fees. I haven't mentioned a whole lot of other things that people spend money on. So your personal inflation can very well be higher than 5.9%, right? And so that's why a lot of people would be feeling out of pocket right now, because your personal inflation could be much, much higher than 5.9%. And I am guessing that it is for most people, right? So now, how then do we protect ourselves from inflation? Are we just at the mercy of, the markets? Right. Number one, the one thing that's going to offer immediate protection from inflation is if you spend less than you earn, right? And this one, I know people will be like, but I'm already on the bare minimum. But however, we need to start reviewing our budgets. If you don't have a budget, you need a budget. And it doesn't matter how much you earn. I've heard people say, no, budgets are for rich people. And rich people say budgets are for poor people. Everybody needs a budget, especially in times like this, so that you know, so that you can see where your money is going. So a budget is not a tool to shame you. I know a lot of people are ashamed. Like if I write what I spend, if I see what's going on with my money, it's shameful, etc. A budget is meant to raise awareness, not to create shame or fear. So you need to be aware where your money is going. Like, am I spending too much in one category? And is there room to cut out and maneuver, right? Having said that as well, when you're now reducing your costs and cutting out unnecessary expenses, you should also try to tackle your big ticket items. These are your housing, your transport, and your food. If you can cut down there, like in terms of housing costs, I mean, try to minimize your electricity usage, right? So, we don't keep lights on if you don't need them on, etc. Switch off appliances that you're not using. All of those things add up to savings, because if your electricity bill is high, there are ways to reduce it. Use LED lights. They're more energy efficient. They last longer, right? Then when it comes to transport, can you try carpooling maybe and reduce your speed? If you've got a car, you can drive more efficiently. And there are ways of, reducing your consumption. And with food as well, there are some things that we need to survive, and there are some things that we eat for entertainment. So if we can be reasonable in how we spend on these 3 things, your costs will be greatly, greatly reduced. But having said that, okay, so here's what the Bible says about spending less than we earn. So it says, Proverbs 21 verse 20 says, the best food and olive oil are stored up in the houses of wise people, but a foolish man eats up everything he has. The principle here is try not to live on 100% of your income. Like, try not to spend everything you earn. The reason is, if you spend less than you earn, you create a buffer. So let's say you're spending everything that you earn, and now prices have gone up. So where are you going to get the extra money to pay for the extra stuff? Because now you're earning 10,000, you're spending 10,000, but prices of goods have increased. So where's the extra money going to come from if you spend everything? So we should train ourselves. So start small and build up the habit as you go along. Always spend less than you earn. And I know the complaint is, I don't earn enough to even try to spend less. So what can I do? Well, you should try to increase your income, because really salaries haven't gone up since the pandemic. In fact, many people's salaries were reduced and they haven't gone up much since 2020. And so spending less may not always be possible. So the other alternative is to earn more money, right? And how can you earn more money? Well, you can negotiate a salary increase. I think all of us have seen on the news, the gold miners, the unions, they're striking, they want more money, right? Because the reason why is inflation affects people who earn little more. They feel it more because, you know, they've got so little, and when prices go up, they really feel it more, right? So negotiate a salary increase, and good luck with that, because there's always pushback, and sometimes you might not get the salary increase that you want, okay? The other thing is, use your existing skills to make extra money in your spare time, right? That's another alternative. So if the salary increase doesn't work, right, that's not the end of the world. That's not where we throw in the towel. Use your existing skills. So everybody has got a skill. When I talk to some people, they're like, but I don't have skills. I'm like, of course you do. You can talk, you've got a voice, that's a skill. You know languages, that's a skill. So use your skills that you have already to try and make extra money in your spare time. Or you could learn a new skill. And this one, I think all of us should do. So if you are stuck in a job, in a dead-end job, you haven't had a salary increase in the past 5 years or 10 years or whatever, so it means that the job is not growing, but you should grow. And it's your responsibility to grow. So increasing your skills, you need to be the best at what you do. So if you are a teacher, make sure you're the best teacher. If you are a cleaner, make sure you are the best cleaner. If you are a mechanic, make sure you're the best, so that wherever you go, you are hireable. People seek after you, right? So you must make yourself valuable. If the job where you're at is not giving you much, then it means you need to upskill yourself. And the people that are going to survive in this environment, in this economy, are people who keep on growing in terms of the skills, in terms of the knowledge. And you can do this formally, like you can do part-time courses, or you can teach yourself. There's so many free resources online to learn, or cheap resources. Coursera is one of the places. Udemy is one. YouTube as well. You can learn so many things. I know a lady who learned how to bake and make those fancy cakes on YouTube, right? And just a note with increasing your income. If you don't learn how to spend less than you earn, earning more is not going to help. So people are always saying, I need more money, I need more money, and it's like, okay, when they do get more money, most people just spend it all. So it's like you're diluting your efforts. So you make more money and then it's gone again. So the reason for earning more money is to create that buffer. So there must always be a buffer between you and the next disaster or the next price increase. we don't spend 100% of what we earn, always. Even with the extra money that you make, there must still be extra, okay? And again, this verse, Proverbs 22, verse 29, speaks of excellence, what I just mentioned, that you should grow and you should be the best at what you do, whatever it is. If you're a teacher, be the best teacher, because you will be more valuable. Like when they're choosing people to retrench or people to get rid of, they'll say, we can't get rid of her because she's too good at her job, or we can't get rid of him because he's too good. So you must be the best at your field, whatever field it is. And the verse says, do you see a man who excels in his work, right? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before unknown men. This talks to excellence and always improving yourself, right? That's the only way to stay ahead. If you're not improving yourself, you'll be left behind, right? Unfortunately. Number 3, another way to fight inflation is to get rid of non-productive debt, right? The Reserve Bank recently raised interest rates, and already, if any of you have got debt, you've already got the SMS from your bank, from West Bank or from wherever, saying your installment month end is going to go up by X amount, right? So debt has become more expensive to service. So, and if you are, and examples of non-productive debt, right, are things like your credit cards, your personal loans, your clothing accounts, your furniture loans. And these kind of debts are the most expensive type of debt. And by expensive, I'm talking about the interest that you can pay. So for example, with a credit card, most credit cards have got about an interest of up to, it can be more, 17.5% interest. With this kind of interest, after 4 years, if you don't pay back, you will owe double of what you owed at the beginning, right? Personal loans, the interest can go up to 25.25%. And if you don't pay back what you owe on time, after just 2.8 years, you owe double. And so you can see why sometimes people get caught in a debt spiral, because the debt starts to grow like a fire, and after some time, they're just not able to keep up anymore because the debt is growing so quickly. And the ideal, guys, is to work towards being completely free of debt. That's the ideal. I know not all of us can be debt free, but if you can avoid debt, please avoid it, especially this kind of debt that is non-productive. The debt that is okay is productive debt, which is debt that is going to give you money at the end of the day, like you're using it to buy investment properties or you're using it to invest in a business. But if it's debt for clothes and furniture, that kind of debt is not productive and it's very, very expensive. So you are going to be paying double for a sofa and by the time you finish paying for it, that sofa is broken, most likely, or it's old or torn. Right? So you don't want to be in that situation. So here is I hope you can see this. I did a spreadsheet calculation of how compound interest works on a credit card. So guys, what is compound interest? Compound interest is interest that grows on top of interest. And it's scary when it happens with debt, right? So I gave an example of a credit card and I'll explain everything. So I just said annual interest is 18% for that credit card. The daily interest would be, if you divide, so 18 divided by 12, and then divide by 30 to get the daily rate, right? So the daily rate would be 0.05%. This is how much will be added onto your balance daily, right? So let's assume this person on day 1, they are owing 50,000 Rand. Right? After day 1, when you add interest, they'll now be owing 50,025 Rand. Doesn't seem like much. It's like, oh, okay, but this is day 1, right? On day 2, the opening balance is no longer 50,000. It's now 50,025. And then you earn interest on top of that. This is the interest owing, right? By the end of day 2, they'll be owing 50,050, right? Day 3, so So then the new balance on day 3 is 50,050. You earn interest on top of that. So that's compounding, right? At the end of 15 days, they will be owing 50,370 something. So that's 15 days. Imagine how much they'll owe after 30 days, after 6 months, after 1 year. It's so scary. Because it's the interest is just growing on top of previous interest, and it snowballs. And that's how people get into trouble. Like, I've been paying so many for many years and I'm not finishing. It's because the interest is compounding. It's growing, compounding, right? So getting rid of debt is actually addition by subtraction. So by just removing that debt, you've earned 18%, if that's what you were paying. You've removed an 18% cost, right? So that's actually an addition, right? And the Bible speaks very strongly about debt, right? It says we shouldn't be in debt. You should get out of debt as soon as you possibly can, because it robs you. The fourth way to fight inflation is to minimize your taxes. Income tax in South Africa is so high. So here is a table. Okay, this is the SARS, the South African Revenue Service tax table for our current tax year. And this is what you can expect to pay in taxes depending on how much you earn, okay? So our tax starts from 18% right up to 45% for those with nice life problems, okay? So our taxes are very, very high. And if there's a way to minimize this, you should take advantage of it. There's no need for you to pay the maximum amount in taxes, right? And there are ways to actually minimize your taxes. So how do you do that? Oops, sorry. The way to minimize your taxes is take advantage of tax shelters. Okay, so there's a way, so there's tax evasion, that's illegal, okay? But there's tax avoidance. Tax avoidance is where you use methods that are allowed to reduce your tax bill. And one of the easiest ways to reduce your tax burden is to use tax shelters, your pension funds. Okay, so any money that you contribute towards your pension fund or provident fund or retirement annuity, that money is pre-tax. So they don't tax you on that money. So let's say you earn 250,000 Rand a year and you contribute 50,000 to your pension. You are only taxed on 200,000. You're not taxed on 250. Okay, so already that's a tax saving because they're taxing you on a smaller amount than if you didn't contribute at all. I'm saying this because I know for employees, you are forced. Most employees are forced. They don't have a choice whether or not to contribute to their pensions. But I'm more concerned with self-employed people, business people, hustlers. You know, hustlers, I much respect to hustlers, but you also need to contribute to your retirement annuity. It will save you taxes as well. Right, so if you're self-employed, working for yourself, open a retirement annuity and it will reduce your taxes. And not only that, you're also preparing for your future, right? Because this money, you're going to earn it sometime in the future, so put it away, okay? And then still on the taxes, if you're changing jobs, please don't cash out your pension because that money is taxed. If you take out money from your pension fund, they'll tax you. Only 25,000 is tax-free. Anything above 25,000 of your pension fund that you withdraw is taxed. Basically, when you're taking money out of your pension, you are borrowing from your future self and you have to replace it. So I know people say, okay, I'm going to take this money, I'm going to pay off my debts, I'm going to whatever. Okay, if you take out money from your pension, replace it. You must pay it back because that's for your future self. Don't steal from your future because your future self will probably need that money more than you need it now. Trust me. And then Another way to minimize your taxes is to become an investor or a business owner if you can. In general, investors and business owners pay less tax compared to salaried people, right? Because businesses only pay tax after expenses, whereas we, the salaried people, will pay tax before expenses, right? So the tax is taken upfront and we still have to sort out rent and whatever. Whereas with businesses, they pay their expenses first and then only pay tax afterwards. So as an example, I'll give an example with dividends, right? Dividends are taxed at a lower rate than a salary. So for example, a person earning 1 million rand a year, nice life problems again, they can pay up to 41% of their salary in tax. But a person earning 1 million from dividends would pay about 15 to 20% in taxes, you see. So already there's that big difference, okay. Now, the next is, I know this is most people's favorite topic, is to invest in inflation beating assets. So all of these strategies that I've shown you, you can do them all at once or one after the other, but they can be applied at the same time. So you can spend less than you earn, get rid of debt. So these are all ways to help you to fight inflation. Now, cash. A lot of people have got a love affair with cash. We love saving in banks. We love stokvels. We are so notorious. We love stokvels. And then in December, we're going to cash out and buy Ultramel and choice assorted biscuits, Gube Mnandi and stuff. Cash. Cash in the bank or under your mattress or anywhere is destroyed by inflation over time, right? Your money, in order to not be poor, needs to grow at a rate that keeps up with or exceeds inflation. If you don't do this, you will not be able to afford your lifestyle in the future, especially when you are no longer able to earn an income. And I think a lot of young people, we think we're going to be working forever, we're going to be earning the same salary. Guys, there's a time out, right? There's going to be a time when your company is going to give you, in the past, they used to give people keys, I don't know, or some champagne glasses, and they watch and say, that's your last day. But there is a point where you're going to stop working. Well, for a company, you might continue working maybe on your own, but formally employed, you're going to stop. And when your income dries up, you still need to eat, right? So where's the money going to come from? It's going to come from the investments that you're making now while you're working. So while we are working now, that's why we shouldn't be spending 100%, because some of the money that we're earning now should be put aside to take care of ourselves in the future, right? So, and that money that you put aside for the future must be growing above inflation. Otherwise, you won't be able to afford your lifestyle in the future. So what kind of assets then should you invest into? Well, historically, real estate and stocks or shares or equities, same thing, have outgrown inflation. So they have grown above inflation in terms of investing. Now, how do you invest? Well, you can do it yourself. You can DIY, okay? But you don't have to. You can invest with professionals. So you can give your money to asset managers to invest on your behalf. So you don't need to know how the market works or how real estate works or whatever it is. There are asset managers, professionals who went to school for that. They can invest on your behalf, right? So you don't need to know how to invest on your own if you don't want to invest on your own. If you want to invest on your own, you can learn, but there's no need to invest on your own. So well, this is not endorsing any company, but I'll just mention, because people are like, okay, what is an asset manager? Asset managers are people like Satrix Investments. I'm sure some of you have heard of them. Signia Asset Managers, Alan Gray. Everybody knows Alan Gray. I think they've done a good job with their marketing department. Okay, so Alan Gray, that is an asset manager. And usually you can start investing 300 Rand, 500 Rand a month. They can allow you to invest, right? And you're investing in shares, in stocks, in real estate. Okay. Now this is, this picture is from the Savings Institute, South African Savings Institute. It just shows the performance of asset classes against inflation. So remember I said, if you want to not be poor or to afford your lifestyle in the future, your money must grow above inflation. So cash, okay, cash is the worst. So cash in the bank or under the mattress or in your piggy bank, it grows at 0 or 1% above inflation. And that's not going to cut it, right? So what is cash good for? So this is not to say, oh, now people must stop saving and invest everything. Cash is excellent for short term. So if you know you're going on holiday in December, save your money as cash, okay? If you know you want to pay for a deposit for a house that you want to buy next year, cash is fine. Cash is good for saving for emergencies. All of us must have emergency funds. You must have your emergency fund in cash, okay? That's fine. But the purpose of cash is not for investing. It's for consumption in a short space of time, right? But if you want your money to grow and outpace inflation, then you need to look beyond cash, right? Then we've got bonds. Bonds are another asset class where it's basically a loan that you make to the government. Okay, so government bonds historically grow between 1% to 3%. Also not so great, better than cash, but they don't knock the lights out, right? But property grows at around 2 to 4% above inflation. Okay, so that's your real estate. And then equities are number one, where they grow between 7 to 9% above inflation. So if inflation is 6%, your equities are giving you 13 to 15%, right? So those are the different asset classes. So this is not to say, again, that you must invest everything. You must invest some and you must have some in cash. So there must be a balance. Okay. Final thoughts, guys. So this is a tough situation. Prices are likely to continue increasing in the coming 6 months, even in the coming year or 2 years. So inflation is never going to go away, guys. It's a reality. And the thing is, it's a silent wealth destroyer. So every year when things go up and etc., people are getting poorer, right? And the only way to beat that is to be an investor, right? You may not like investing, you may not, but you have no choice. We have no choice. And having said that also, always have a solution-oriented mindset, right? We can start to blame. Now people can start to blame who was the cause of the inflation and where the inflation. We can spend hours debating and trying to pinpoint who's at fault, whatever it is. But what I want us to do is to focus on what we can control. Focus on your locus of control. So things that are beyond your control, don't worry about it, because whether you worry or don't worry, you can't change it, right? And avoid analysis paralysis. Like you know you're supposed to invest, but you're so paralyzed by negativity. You come up with 1,000 ways of why you shouldn't do something, right? Avoid that, guys, and avoid being defeatist. So a defeatist is somebody who gives up before they even try. So they'll say, it doesn't work, and they won't even try, right? So that's not where I want us to lead you to. I want us to have a more solution-oriented mentality, because what I realized is that, do you know that there's some people, they're just like you and me, They're just like you and me, the same number of hours, and they somehow manage to make things work, even if it's tough, you know. And if they can do it, what was stopping you from doing it as well? People who look just like you and me. And this is the challenge that I'm going to pose for you. And I'm going to end it here. Over to the host for comments and questions.
Right, sorry about that, guys. I believe Ashley should be joining in because he's our host for the day. Do pardon us for that. Please kindly switch off your video for the purpose of when we actually export the video from the Facebook live feed to the video on YouTube. So we have a problem with the faces that appear there. So if your video is on, with all due respect, please kindly switch it off. So with that being said, this is a conversation for everyone. Ashley, do give me a heads up as soon as you are available. I can't switch on my video right now. Do pardon me, I'm not in a position to do that. Yeah.
I'm here, Mganami. I'm here. But it's over to you, my sir. You can run with it. Let's open up for the questions. Let's open up for the comments. I'm here with you, sir.
Okay. So please do pardon me, Bazalwane. It's not protocol. It's not proper for me not to open the video, but do pardon me. So with that being said, this has been a fruitful conversation for everyone. As relatable as we can imagine, as hard-hitting at home, it impacts you, it touches you. Some of us, in fact, it even inspires us. It opens our thinking, and we are grateful to Nozi for doing that, because I think this is years of collated information, experience, comparing this and that. That beautiful spreadsheet that was shown there, that's added skill, knowing what you're talking about. And we can't pass this opportunity by to promote Unozi as a person that she is in the space of her expertise. And I wouldn't say expertise because I don't think she likes being called an expert, but she knows her craft. So as soon as we possibly can, with every opportunity we have, we'll promote YouTube link yake, her Facebook following, everything she does. And I believe she's got a website as well. I'm not quite sure, she'll confirm. So the conversation has been relevant. Now it's your time to start talking, gather some intel on what you can, and change and improve. And please do get rid of debt. And please do not live above your means. So all of that is practical. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Ask questions. There's no expert here. We are here to share opinions. We are here to learn from each other. Boise, I see your hand is up. Is there anyone else who'd like to share a thought or two regarding the conversation we're having? And perhaps you're in a pickle. You're making some poor choices. Perhaps you need help and advice. Why am I not getting this or that right? This is your platform. This is an opportunity for you. And take those steps. She made it as simple and she broke it down for everyone. Takes those steps and implement and come back. You'll thank Nozi in 90 days. You'll thank her in 90 days. So okay, I see at this point, Sapete Upois, Boise, I'll ask you to unmute you, my king. Please go ahead and share your thoughts and any questions you might have. I've asked you to unmute you, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Leander. Thank you, Nozi, for the insights that you have just shared. I have two questions. Maybe the one is, firstly, it's your point of view, maybe just as an average person, when you get a salary or you get a money, or maybe your own personal, how you would advise to say, when you get a salary, there is savings, there is investments, and how would you advise, maybe depending, the spending people, it's different, right? So how would you say, because I always hear save and invest first. At what percentage would you advise one to say, at least, is it 10%, 20%, 30%, or what comes first? Is it savings first, or you can do both at the same time, save and invest? And then the second question is related. You spoke about, you gave an example of Alan Gray, that you don't necessarily have to invest on your own. I know Alan Gray, but I don't know, I didn't know what they do. So I just maybe to have a framework on saying, let's say I want to put my 300 Rand in Alan Gray, not to go into detail. That 300 Rand, when do I expect dividends? When do I expect, can I ask it back? Or what happens when just to have a framework or say, if I'm doing this thing, this is what I should expect in this investment game, or I should go back to them and inquire what's going on, how far with my money, or things like that. I hope you get what I'm trying to ask.
Right, all right. I believe Nozi has noted the question down. Straightforward question. We appreciate it. Over and above, let me not repeat it. Let's go on. Pastor T, I'm asking you to unmute your please.
Thank you, Nozi. I've always liked her presentations. I've complained why she always did it for women, and it's good that at least Today invited her to share with us. Okay, my question is, it sounds so stupid. I think it also troubled me as well for some time. How do you balance the waste of money on things like pension fund versus one's expectations of the term coming soon of Jesus Christ? I'll give an example. If, let me say, I'm 30 years of age and my mind tells me that definitely in 30 years we'll be in heaven, and I lose a lot of money through the pension fund investment. How do we balance that as young people? How can we really say, out of the money which I'm struggling to balance on my budget, here is the pension fund for the future, which more or less I think I will not even, I will not experience the spend of that money, because if Jesus Christ, let's say, comes in 20 years, a 30-year-old will be 50 years old by that time. So there is 20 years of money which has been spent on pension fund, which we are not going to even enjoy in heaven whatsoever. How do we balance that thought? Because it is a thought, hence I'm saying also it has got some element of stupidity, but some reality of a Christian who is thinking that soon is soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mfundis. Nozi, refrain from your favoring women ways, please. Anyway, as we continue the conversation, there's a similar question on Facebook as well. It's aligned, so to say, from a gentleman called S.H. Siduka. How do you go about having retirement annuity if you are self-employed? Do you do it with banks? That's his question. And then the last one for now with this round of hands is Ulungile Swazi Kunene. You probably know these names, Nozi. How much is the minimum amount should one have when starting to invest for middle term? So we'll just pack it at that for now and give to Unozi to sort of like unpack. And please, between those two things, between those answering of those questions, please do share with him in the meantime while you still have the chance to chilling and link to YouTube and other social media streams and whatnot and so forth. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for your questions. Now, I understand completely your questions. And sometimes we feel like the questions are stupid. There is no such thing as a stupid question, right? And one thing which I have a problem with the financial industry, please forgive me if you work for the financial industry and you're listening to this, but the financial industry actually thrives on the ignorance of people. So, and the information is there, but it's kind of hidden behind jargon, big words, and in language that we don't use in everyday terms, right? So they use words like that you've never heard before. And it's for me, I believe it's a ploy because ignorant people are easy to exploit, right? So that's why I'm so passionate about this, because if you see, even my slogan is personal finance made simple. Finances, guys, are not as hard as you've been made to believe, okay? The moment, if you've got a financial advisor or anybody that's helping you with your money that makes you feel stupid, it's time to look for somebody else, okay? That's the first thing that I'm going to say. And there's no question that is stupid when it comes to anything really, because that's how we learn, all right? So the first question is how to save and invest. What is the percentage? What comes first? Okay, so how much you save and how much you invest is dependent on a lot of things. Firstly, what is it that you're saving for? What is it that you're investing for, right? You need goals in your life. You know, a lot of people just drift through life. You get your salary, you spend it, and yeah, life, there's no aim of where you're going. So the first place to start is not actually to start with saving or with investing. It's actually to write down what it is that you want to achieve with your money. Because the money that you earn is not infinite, it's finite, and it should accomplish certain things that you want to accomplish, right? So it starts with you. What is it that you want? What are you saving for? So if you just save just for the sake of saving, that's why a lot of people even end up spending that money, because it's not pegged to anything, you're just saving. But a good rule, a good place to start would be to save for emergencies, because all of us experience emergencies sooner or later, and you need cash. So you start saving and you start with what you have, guys. Start where you can. So a lot of people, they want a percentage like, yeah, no, tell me how much I should save. If you've never saved in your life, if you've never invested in your life, start where you can. If it's 1% of your salary, save 1%. If you can afford to save 10, save 10, right? But the rule of thumb is save as much as you can and invest as much as you can. So there's no limit, there's no ceiling, actually. When it comes to savings and investing and investments, you can save as much as you can. There's no ceiling. So the key is to start. And what comes first? I'd say savings comes first. If you don't have an emergency fund, don't even think about investing. And I know it sounds counterintuitive, like, okay, but if I invest, I'm going to get returns. No, not so fast. If you don't have an emergency fund and something happens, as we're talking with the advocate, he had to replace a tire on his car. Now, if maybe he's not insured or whatever it is, or maybe he needs to put money from his pocket to buy a tire, and you now all your money is tied into investments. Investments don't work like savings, okay? Investments need time to grow, and usually you can even lose money in the short term, right? So your savings are there as a buffer between you and things that happen in your life. Tires, like Ashley said, burst and they need replacing, and you need money for that, right? So savings will help you from getting into debt, from getting personal loans or mashonisa and credit cards. So savings first, the percentage is as much as you can, but start small, okay? Then the next question is, what happens when you invest with an asset manager? How do you earn dividends? Okay, so when you invest with your asset manager, so this is where a financial advisor comes into play now. If you don't know what's going on, one thing that I'd say though is we need to educate ourselves. This information is there, right? you just need to read up a little bit and understand what exactly is an asset manager, what do they do. So an asset manager will invest for you based on your risk profile and based on how long you want to invest also. So, excuse me, so they'll look at your age and when you want your money back. So if you want your money back in a short space of time, they'll probably put you into lower risk, like income funds, or balanced funds. So these are funds made up of cash and bonds and not necessarily too much of shares or property, because those are more higher risk. So if your time frame is shorter, the asset manager would then give you a balanced fund or an income fund. But then if you've got a longer time horizon, so you're investing for longer, so 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, then they'll give you an equity fund or a high growth fund, which would be like, it has shares in there, it's got property in there, because those two are the ones that grow above inflation, but they need time. So they won't give it to you for short spaces of time, they'll give it to you for long time. And how do you know when do you earn dividends? They send you statements. And some of them are quite cool. Like with the one I use, you can actually log in and see how your investments are doing. They'll send you statements. You can see, oh, this month I earned dividends and they invested them again. So you can read the statement and see where your money is going. Now, a point with asset managers, this thing, money is so broad, guys, but I feel like I have to mention this one. So not all asset managers are equal. Investing is not for free. Okay, so when you give your asset manager money, they are going to pay themselves from that money for investing on your behalf. They'll take it's called a investment fee. Let's just call it that, an investment fee, right? So some asset managers charge higher fees than others. So you have to be careful. So this is where you need to shop around to compare fees. And if that's a challenge for you, that's when a financial advisor becomes valuable. Okay, so that's where a financial advisor comes in. And again, moving on to Pastor T's question, it's not a stupid question. I've heard of this before, we are Christians, we believe Jesus is coming soon. So what's the point of, planning for the future, investing? What if Jesus comes? Guys, money management is all about stewardship. So we are supposed to be good stewards every time. Even if Jesus is coming tomorrow, you still need to be a steward of money. And Jesus said, occupy till I come. He didn't say stop going to work. He didn't say stop going to school, because there are some people who believe, no, my kids shouldn't go to school because Jesus is coming. I shouldn't get a job because Jesus is coming, and they just go into the bush and wait. That's not what the Bible teaches. Whatever you are found doing, be faithful in that. Even in handling your money, you should be faithful and invest what needs to be invested for retirement, because that's the responsible thing to do. And if Christ comes before you retire, that's okay. You've been a good steward. Other than you being in debts, you are drowning and etc. And then Jesus doesn't come and you're stuck, right? Because no one knows when he's coming. So we prepare. And if he comes, he'll find us that we were good stewards, okay? Someone says, how do you open a retirement annuity? You open it online. So guys, the internet is a gift. It's amazing the stuff we can do today with the internet. 20 years ago, you'd need to physically look for a broker or physically go to someone's office. But today, on your phone even, you can open a retirement annuity online. They'll just give you forms to fill in, you sign, and online as well. And you open your retirement annuity and you start contributing. And someone says, what is the minimum to invest? Again, so this all boils down to your goals. This all boils down to your goals, and there's financial planning involved as well. So if you are, let's say you're saving for a deposit for a house, surely you are aiming, you know what type of house you want to buy, more or less the price of the house, and maybe you want to save a 10% deposit. So let's say you want to buy a house that's worth $1 million and you are going to save 100,000. So, okay, how long do you want to save that 100,000? Oh, I want to save it over 2 years or whatever it is. Then you divide it and say, okay, how much should I save per month to reach that target, right? If my target is 100,000 in 2 years, how much should I save, every month until I reach that goal? It's the same thing with your investments. What are you investing for? So if you're investing let me give myself as an example because I can't use anybody else. Let's say you want to be financially free, which is what I'm investing for. Financial freedom is the point where your investments can pay for your lifestyle without you going to work. So your investments can cover your lifestyle monthly and you don't need a job. So that's what I'm investing for. And to be financially free, I know how much I need. Okay, so to be financially free, the way you calculate it, you take your monthly expenses and multiply by 300. Okay, it's called the rule of 300 or the 4% rule. I'll post the link shortly. So you take your monthly expenses, multiply by 300. That's how much you need to be financially free. Okay, so you can calculate it for yourself. And sometimes when people see that number, they're like, yo, where am I going to get that money? So once you have that number, your expenses times 300, then you work backwards and figure out how much you need to be investing every month. Okay, and also the timeline is important. How long do you want to invest? So with me, the question is, when do I want to be financially free? Okay, do I want to be financially free in 15 years or 20 years or 30 years? That affects how much you invest. So I'm not going to give you figures, okay? I don't like working with figures. I work with percentages. So for me, because I started investing late, okay, confession, I was clueless. This is why I'm so passionate about this. I was clueless about money for most of my adult life. And I discovered investing quite late. So now I need to play catch up, right? So on a monthly basis, I calculated that I need to invest a minimum. So minimum means it's the least I can do to reach my goal. I need to invest a minimum of 20% of my salary, right? For my goal, right? So again, the minimum, so this person was asking how much to invest. You can invest any amount, but any amount may not cut it for your specific goal. If you've got a specific goal, then there's a specific amount that you need to invest every single month. Okay, so I'll end it there. I hope I've answered your questions.
All right, guys. So we continue on with the conversation. So yeah, I'm just taking you back to your presentation I once did. I think it was sometime in March at Rosebank Church about you should have 20% as a buffer. That's money you should be setting aside. Ideally, I mean, I was pushing the agenda which people should start planting into blockchain. I know crypto is a scary word. People should start planting into blockchain because there is some kind of a flow into blockchain and the gateway is crypto, but we're not there. So have policy in your finances, Yogoti, as a buffer for yourself. Have 20% that you're putting aside so that it can guard you, protect you. It should always be there. So, which brings me to a term I want to throw into the conversation. While people are maybe trying to look into their thoughts and raise their hands to keep the conversation going. Risk, the word risk. Let's throw in the term risk into the conversation. What does that mean for the spin of things regarding people investing, people saving, risk as a word? I wanted to throw it as a spanner in the works. How can we factor in risk? Because from a principal point of view, high risks yields high rewards. Low risk yields low rewards. So from perspective, guys knows how would you factor in risk as a term? What does that mean, or how does that aid the conversation moving forward? So there are some two thoughts on Facebook that I just wanted to read. I would like to think they're also insight, or maybe umuntu uyabuza. So the first one is from Ulundi. A basic salary of 5,500 with essentials that cost 3,800. What percentage should I invest from the balance that's left? I would like to believe Nozi has really answered this question, but I'll leave it to her, team. And then the second one is, question please. Rand to dollar is around 15 Rand. So is it wise to invest on USA markets or any international markets as a South African? And are dividends from international markets taxed? So those are the two thoughts so far on Facebook. So let's talk about risk, Nozi. Should people shy away from risk? Should people face risk head on? And with that being said, okay, I'll ask this when we come back again. So over to you, Nozi. Those three questions for now. Can you just entertain them for us?
Okay, I'll start with risk. So Ish, the financial world, again, I'll say we have been done such a great disservice, although not all companies, guys, not all financial institutions, there are really great ones out there that I really, really love. They try to simplify things for us and make things better, but majority, as I said, they overcomplicate simple things and they scare people and they make you believe that you're too stupid to understand certain things. Basically, risk when it comes to investing is the probability that you will not get your desired outcome. That's the risk. So I'm investing hoping, like me, I'm investing hoping that I'll be financially free at some point. And the risk is I might not get there. So that's the risk, that maybe I'm investing too little and therefore I might not reach financial freedom. That's how to understand risk, not reaching your goals. Okay. And risk doesn't mean you should run away from investing, because there are ways to mitigate risk. There are ways of reducing your risk. So if you invest with an asset manager or retirement annuities, etc., those guys, they know how to structure your investments so that they are protected from too much risk. So you'll find that when you put your 500 with Alan Gray or Satrix or whatever, Satrix is going to invest your money in different things. So it's going to take maybe 20 Rand and put it somewhere, another 20 Rand somewhere else, and your money is spread. And by spreading your money into different things, then you are kind of shielded from risk. And so that's, so risk doesn't mean run away. Risk just means you might not achieve your goals. But there's also a flip side that, as Leander said, high risk means potential. It's not guaranteed. Potential higher returns, because you have to be rewarded for actually risking your money. And people who just save their money are not risking anything. So there's no reward there because you're just putting it in a bank. There's nothing ventured there. But as soon as you start to buy shares or property, there is risk and you are expecting to be compensated for taking that risk. Okay, then someone is talking about a salary of 5.5K. As I mentioned, so sometimes I really do acknowledge, guys, that some people do earn little. And I said, if you earn little, the responsibility is on us to earn more. So if you know your salary you're not comfortable with whatever salary, it doesn't have to be 5. Some people are not comfortable with more than that. If you're not comfortable with the current salary that you earn, it is your responsibility to increase your value and your skills so that you earn more. Or you're going to use that money to earn extra money. You're going to start a business, you're going to start selling something. So your income is 100% in your control. If you're not happy with what you're earning, please, please, please do something about it today. And I would say a lot of us have got a lot of time on our hands that we can learn a new skill. Give yourself an hour a day to learn something. Either you're learning how to bake or you're learning something of value that can increase your income so that you are able to invest. And again, with percentages, as I've mentioned, depends on your goals. And I said, invest what you can. And you should invest as much as you can. There's no ceiling. Again, there's no limit to your investments. I know people who invest a lot of, like, more than half of their salaries. And that's okay, okay? It means they'll reach their goals sooner. They'll reach it quicker. And then in terms of international investing, someone is asking, is it wise that, the rand is around, it's not 15 rand. I think it's closer to 16. I checked on Friday. I think it's, close to 16. Well, what I would say is it's good to diversify, obviously, to not have all your eggs in one basket. So it's good to invest even outside, but you don't have to take your rands outside of South Africa. There are global funds that you can invest into in rands. So if you invest on your own, like on the stock market, you can buy international ETFs, those funds with shares of American companies and other companies. Even asset managers also have global funds. So you invest in rands, but then your rands then are invested in international companies. So you don't have to physically take your rands out, but you can also, there's also that option to say, okay, I want to actually invest in hard currency, like in US dollars. There's also that option as well, to take your money and invest it directly on the New York Stock Exchange or the London Stock Exchange, etc. But with that, you need to be, you need a will and do proper estate planning. Because if you've got assets outside of South Africa and you pass away, you need a proper will, or else you're going to struggle to get those assets from America or from UK. Your family is going to struggle if your will is not properly structured. So be careful with that. The easiest way is just to invest in global ETFs locally using rands, and then there's no issue of estate planning. And although each and every one of us needs a will, guys, all of us need wills, and wills are free, so there's no need for us not to have wills. So your will state what should happen to your stuff. I think I can end it there.
All right, thank you so much, Nozi. Babuile for Facebook. Guys, abantu bako Facebook, they are more loyal than the 58 people who are on this Zoom, except for brother Boyce and brother Camelo and our advocate Ashley and Leander, yours truly. Let's have an engagement, Buffett. Let's edify each other. So, yeah, tying the risk conversation to maybe picking someone's brain regarding appetites. I'm just going to pose a question. I'm going to leave it out in the open. And then I'm going to come to you, Camelo. Question is, from a point of view of looking forward to great projects, or searching for great projects, would any one of us here actually put their money into a project that is launching an app? Would you put your money into a project that is technologically inclined, bearing in mind which there's a potential to fail or the potential to pass, but obviously having done your due diligence. So I'm going somewhere with this, away from the safety net of having your companies of asset managers, as we had spoken about them, your fund managers, your Allen Grays, your experts and whatnot. Do you have the appetite to look into something that has potential, like Nozi had just said? With high risk comes high rewards. It has potential, and it has a possibility of failing. The possibility you might not get the desired result. But God forbid that should happen. Should things go your way, you'll be smiling all the way to the bank, and not only for now, and also for generations to come. So I'm picking someone's thought process here and say, maybe when you look at projects that are new, innovative, people coming up with something that is not conventional, and when you look into it and you see which there's potential, would you be in a space to say, let me spare some time to think and put in my money away from the safety net of people being experts and financial advisors and so on and so forth? So I'm just bringing that to the conversation so that Ibe two-sided, because others are not really people who are safety minded. There are those who enjoy and thrive from risk. So I hope that thought is clear. So there's a follow-up questions on Facebook. Okay, people are trying to get some free consultations from you now. Maria Dumaco Pondeluibo, is it right time to buy shares or invest in fuel-related portfolio? Which companies are best to invest in? Hey, free consultation about that. And then the second follow-up question is, you spoke about, from SH Siduka, you spoke about financial rule earlier. You said to be able to calculate how much you need to get your financial freedom, you need to take your monthly expenses, multiply by 300 and calculate backwards, as so that you can get the figure you need monthly to invest. Do you mind to elaborate a bit on that for us, please? So I hope you got those questions. Nzonikeza Utlamelo Ross, and then after SK, it's over to you. It's over to you, Nozi. I'm looking at the chats. What's her name? Della. I'm looking at the chats. I don't see questions here. I do not see questions. And what's nice about you is that you've got the privilege of just raising your hand and just sharing your thoughts with us. So the only place where I find questions is Facebook. I know that some of us are shy, but you have got the privilege. If you find any questions, please kindly post them again or directly DM to me. So at this point, with Carmela Ross and then SK, and then over to you, Nozi. Carmela, I've asked you on mute to go ahead, Carmelo.
Hi,
Carmelo.
Hi, just a quick question to Nozi. Nozi, you spoke about consulting a financial advisor if you don't understand, or you don't know which wealth asset manager to choose, and you spoke about them getting their percentage from your money. What is a decent percentage for them to take, one? And two, what is the difference between these two?
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Camelo. Sorry about that. SK, go ahead. Good say. Question or comment? I've asked you to unmute you.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I've got, I think, two questions. The first one is that what's the difference between insurance and assurance? And then after that answer, then I would have a follow-up question. And then the second question is some spiritual guy, or let me say some elder, once told me, no, it was some pastor, once told me that gambling or playing lotto is using your money to get money. So what are your thoughts there? in terms of investment using your money. Thanks.
Right. Over to you, Nozi.
Okay, thank you. The last one, I'm just jotting it down so that I don't forget. Okay, so someone says, is it the right time to buy shares? For me, the answer is yes. It's always the right time to invest. So monthly investing, it's called Rand cost averaging. So what that means is that, so sometimes your shares, when you buy them, they'll be at a higher price. And then sometimes when you buy them, they will be at a lower price. But on average, you average out the costs. So you invest all the time, right? You don't try to time the market, which is what sometimes people do. Like right now, for those who are investing in the stock markets, the US stock market has crashed, like as in minus 20%. And it's a bargain for me. It's a bargain. But some people are saying, oh no, we should wait. You know, if you wait, you don't know when the market is going to correct. And you're going to miss out when the market bounces back. In 2020, all markets around the world crashed in March 2020. And by April, the markets had recovered. And nobody predicted that. So people who panicked, stopped investing, took their money out, they lost out on the gains. Whereas those who sat on their hands, did nothing or invested more, they enjoyed those gains. So yes, it's time to invest. It's always time to invest. Now, if you can allow me, Leander, with the financial freedom question, I'll answer it at the end because I'll share my screen once again and go through some calculations, okay? I like to demonstrate stuff so that people understand. And then someone asked about the advisor, the percentage cost, etc. Okay, so guys, there are different types of financial advisors. They are fee-based financial advisors who will only charge you for a consultation. So they'll charge you for an hour. They'll say, the one financial advisor I've spoken to charges like, I think it's 1,000 Rand for 1 hour. Okay, that's a fee-based. So they don't charge you commission. Then there are commission-based advisors. Those advisors are going to earn money from your investments for the lifetime of your investment. So meaning, yeah, if you are investing for 20 years, the advisor is going to earn your money for 20 years. So I prefer the fee only. We schedule a meeting on Zoom, we talk, and we're done. I pay him his money, bye-bye, until next time, okay? So I prefer that because the fee, okay, now this is time for me to share because if I'm just using my hands, it doesn't make sense. Lee, just tell me if you can see my screen.
Yes, ma'am, I can see a compound interest calculator.
Okay, now I'm struggling to hide this floating. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm going to go on to the fees part. I'm opening a link. It's called My Money Tree. Okay, somebody was kind enough to do a fee comparison for us to actually tell you what those fees actually mean in Rand terms. Because a lot of fees, guys, they're quoted in percent. And a lot of us, Shemet is not our friend. We hear 2%, you're like, what is that? You know, you're like, are you 2% in Animus? Just wait. So these are fees on retirement annuities, okay? And basically what you're seeing in front of you is how much you pay per year if your retirement annuity was worth 300,000. So this is your pension, your funds, whatever it is, it's 300,000. So for a 0.53% fee, you'd pay 1,600 annually, okay? But for a 1.79% fee, you are paying 5,400, okay? And these happen to be the cheaper side of things. Many people are paying more than this. So it means they are paying a lot more than what you see on the screen in terms of fees annually. And this is just for the RA. You haven't paid your advisor. So if your advisor is commission-based, their commission is also a percentage, and it will be added on top of the percentage that you're looking at. So at the end of the day, you can, okay, let me increase this from 300,000. Let's push it to 1 million, thereabout, so that you can see. So the fees compound with your investments. So as your investments grow, the fees also grow as well. So you can see now, if it's 1,091,000, you can see now a 0.53% fee is now 5,800, right? But a 1% fee is now 11,700, right? And I'm saying again, these are the cheaper side of things. Many people are paying 2% in fees, 3% in fees. You can imagine how much they're actually giving away to financial institutions and to advisors, right? So that's why I say, if you need an advisor, look for a fee. Like you pay a consultation, you pay them 1,000. You see what I'm saying, 1,000, you think it's expensive, but look how much they'll be taking from you on an annual basis, okay? If it's a commission-based, it means for their lifetime, they're gonna get a piece of your investments. And this is excluding the actual fees for the actual, the fund itself, okay? That's for your fees. Let's talk about, so the working backwards part of things. So I said to you, for you to be financially free, there's a rule called the 4% rule. And it was a study done by professors from the Trinity University. They figured out how much people need to retire. Okay, so they figured out you take your monthly expenses and multiply them by 300. That's a rule of thumb. It's not set in stone. Okay, it's a rule of thumb. So let's assume that somebody's expenses monthly are 10,000 rand. 10,000 times 300 is 3 million. So this person, in order to be financially free and not be dependent on a job, they are going to need 3 million. So how much do they need to invest every month to get there, right? So I like using this compound interest calculator because you play around with the numbers here. So let's say they've got nothing. They don't have any investments yet. Initial balance is 0. And interest rate, I'm going to use 10%, guys, based on if you invest in an index like the S&P 500 or the top 40 South African shares, 10% is quite achievable, okay? And it's actually a conservative number. You can actually earn more than this in terms of your returns. Now, the number of years. So when does this person want to be financially free? Okay, do they want to be financially free in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30? So this is where you put in when you want to reach your financial freedom. So I'll just put in for now, let's just say 15 years, okay? The compound interval is yearly, guys. Investments compound yearly, not monthly, not daily, not, okay. So this is where now you play around with the figures. So I don't know how much a person should be investing to get 3 million. So I'll just put any number and calculate until I actually get to the number, right? So I'll just put, let's say 2,000 Rand. Let's see what it'll get us after 15 years, okay? So you see, let's go back again. 0 initial balance, 10% interest rate for 15 years, investing 2,000 Rand monthly. It projects that they'll get about 797,000. So we are short, okay? So they'll need to increase that. So that's how I do it, basically, like to figure out how much you need. So if I bump it up to 5,000 per month, after 15 years, it's projecting that they'll have 1.9 million. Okay, so still they're short, they're under, okay? So they need to increase. And again, I think at this point, people would collapse because 8,000 is like, yo, that's a lot. Okay, then they reach, so if they invest 8 million for 15 years, compounding at 10% an annum, they'll get 3. Now, let me change the time. So the reason why people should start investing from day one when they start working is because you've got more time. The more time you have, you can get away with investing less money. So let me put 30 years. So let's say, 15 years is too quick. This person can't afford to put away 8,000 Rand a month. Let's change the time to 30 years and change, you'll see for yourselves how the numbers will change. So let's start again from 1,000 and you see, so the timeline has increased, okay? And with just 1,000 Rand investment per month, they'll get 2 million. So they are close. Let me bump it up a bit to 1.5. It'll get to 3, you see? So this is the catch. People must start investing sooner than yesterday. Because what you don't have, you see, money, you can always have more money, but time, you don't have a lot of time. Time is your greatest asset when it comes to investing. Because look at this, you invest for 30 years, 1.5. So it means your total deposits, it's 540,000 Rand. So where does the rest of the money come from? It comes from the interest that you earn. And the more time you have, the more money you have at the end, right? So if I just simply change it to 40 years, you even fall off your chair. Let's change the timeline to 40 years. And the money just becomes 8 million. And so this is why they always say, guys, from your first salary, you start investing. Because if you leave it until you're 40 or 50, you no longer have time, right? And so it means now you need to contribute much more money. And at that time, you've got a bond, you've got 2 kids in boarding school, you've got a dog, and you've got a swimming pool, etc. So your time is the greatest asset when it comes to investing. It's not the money, because it's the interest will be earned from your dividends, from the market doing its thing. Okay, so that's I hope that helps with the calculations. So that's what I use to estimate. I've lost my Zoom now. I can't find myself. Oh gosh. Over to you, Lee.
Okay. Hey, okay, thank you. This is a good conversation, Babalan. All right, Aspinde, let's go back to the question that I may have omitted. Pardon me. Udela just highlighted a question. We'll come back to you, Camelo. Food prices are so high. How do you reduce on food? Or is it a matter of planting our own? All right. And then emergency fund will be funds saved in a bank account. That sounds like a question. There's a question mark. So yeah, I hope you got that, Nozi.
Yeah.
And then Camilla, back to you. I've asked you to unmute you.
Hi, I forgot my question. Let's carry on. I'll raise my hand again. Sorry.
Okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. So yeah, hey, thank you for opening our eyes. I'll just give you a chance to respond to the question that Udela has just emphasized or highlighted to me.
Okay, so yeah, the emergency fund.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to just say wow to what you've just shared now about saving for 40 years. It seems like a long time, 40, 30 years or so. It seems like a very, very long time. But I suppose we have to start somewhere. All right, Camilla, I don't know if you dropped your hand and raised it up again. Let me lower it. If you do want to question again, please do raise your hand. SK, you did have a follow-up question. I don't know if you're Pendulegana. I'm asking to unmute you and then back to no. Anyway, let's deal with SK. SK, I've asked you to unmute you. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, no, it's not a follow-up. I'm not sure whether I didn't hear when she was answering my questions.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I skipped your question. Sorry about that. Can I tackle that, Leander?
Go ahead.
So with insurance versus assurance, I don't know, guys. Like I won't even attempt to answer that one. So with that one, you would have to read up. I'll also read up as well. Now, when it comes to gambling, yeah, this one is there's a fine line. So when we invest, guys, and this is why I've got my own opinions about certain types of investments. So when you are investing, you are buying something that is productive, a productive asset. So if you buy property, you are investing because then somebody needs a place to stay. They go into your flat and they pay you rent every month, etc. That's an investment. It's productive. There's an exchange of value. So you are providing accommodation to somebody and then somebody pays you money for accommodation. With shares, it's the same thing again. A lot of people think shares are numbers on a screen. I think when people think of shares, they think of movies. You know, there's that movie, that famous movie, Wolf of Wall Street or whatever. And they think it's this, you know, people on the trading floor shouting numbers. It's numbers on a graph. You need big computers. No. When you buy shares, you are actually buying ownership in a company, in a business. If you had enough money, you would be able to buy the business. But because you don't have millions or billions to buy businesses, you are buying small pieces of the business with your 500 Rand or your 300 Rand or your 200 Rand, right? So there is value there because the businesses actually are selling goods and services to people. So you buy a share of a company that sells burgers. And every time people buy burgers, there's an exchange. So somebody gets a burger and the company gets money. So there's an exchange there. There's value there. And you are earning from that value. Now, there is speculation. Speculation is where there is no value, right? So in the early, it was in the early 1900s, there's something called tulip mania. So tulips are flowers. And in the Netherlands, there became this craze of tulips. So people started investing into tulips. I mean, yes, flowers do have value, but the prices of tulips in the Netherlands became so high and people invested, they sold their houses to buy tulips and to sell tulips to people. And they even got to a point where they were selling futures, as in people were selling contracts to buy tulips that were not yet planted. So now that is speculation because what value? I mean, yes, a tulip has got value, but it's not as valuable as selling your house and selling your car and selling contracts of a plant that hasn't even germinated yet. And the tulip mania got so bad that the economy in the Netherlands almost collapsed. You can Google this. It's called tulip mania. And it's looking at it now, it seems crazy. But the same thing happens today with other things, which I'm not going to mention because people will crucify me. But if there's no value, like I mentioned, property has value. You're providing shelter for somebody and they're paying you money. With businesses sell goods, they sell services. There's an exchange of value there. But if you are now buying something just in the hope that someone is going to buy it from you at a higher price, that's now speculation. Where there's no value, like I can just create I can just draw a picture and sell it and say this picture is worth 1,000. There's no underlying, it's not producing anything, right? It's not producing anything. It's just sitting there. And I'm hoping that somebody else will buy it from me with a higher price. That's speculation. That's gambling, right? And that's wrong. Gambling, it's money basically from nowhere. You just selling stuff that doesn't have a value. It cannot be exchanged for anything. So that's what I would say about gambling. Investing is not gambling, but speculating is gambling. and there's a difference. Right. Was there another question?
Yeah, it's that question that was highlighted by Odela about food prices going high. Do we plant?
Oh, yes.
Or
If you can, so those who are blessed, so not everybody is blessed to have a piece of land where they can plant in a garden or something. But if you do have access to even a small patch of land, you can plant, it'll save you. If you can have tomatoes of your own in your garden or some herbs, lettuce, things that are easy to grow, definitely go for it. And also make sure, sometimes we get used to things that are not actually food. So there is food for nourishment, and then there are other things that we eat that don't nourish us. So it's time for us. I'm not saying we should deprive ourselves, but these times call us now to really to draw the line. There are some things that we enjoy eating, but they don't really benefit us in any way. And they could be even detrimental to our health. So be wise. I'm not going to be prescriptive, but you know yourselves. Be wise and make sure you're actually buying things which are nourishing to your body, and avoid things that are not nutritious, because number one, they also cost a lot. You eat more of those things because they're not filling, so you feel hungry all the time. So yeah, wisdom is needed there.
okay. Right. So there's a thought from Umes for the purpose of the Facebook community. Invited the question Ebuzo SK, and it says insurance is for property. That's Mess's attempt. I would like to believe he or she is not an expert. Insurance is for property. Assurance is life-based. Insurance covers things that may happen, e.g. fire, etc., floods and the likes. And then there's a beautiful thought as well, which is a beautiful way to close the conversation. But nevertheless, we are starting to glide and close the conversation because we started 2:30, and the aim is to have a 2-hour conversation up until 4:30. So if you've got some thoughts, please kindly raise your hand as we are beginning to glide out. So Ecclesiastes 11 verse 2, uti invest in 7 ventures. Yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. All right. So also, Nozi, if you could just share maybe a link here, compound interest calculator, because I think there's an interest on Facebook now, the compound interest calculator. Now that you've showed them how to use it, you could always come back to the 230 Conversations page. For the 230 Conversations people who, many of them who are liking are not part of or are not following the page, I've noticed as well. I would like to believe Buti following Nozi. Please do follow the Facebook conversation, Facebook page here, 230 Conversations. You can come back and re-look at the video, get a proper, relaxed, no pressure understanding of what she has taught us, especially that 4% principle and many other things that she has enlightened us on. So please do share the link, Nozi. Bazalwane, I'm going to take in this order. SK ngicela ukuqala ngoMantwa, ngilandela ngoMtimande, ngigcina ngo-SK, as we are beginning to wind out of the conversation. I think it's been beautiful, it's been fruitful, it's been productive, it's been insightful, and all the fools. Mantwa, I've asked you to unmute you. Go ahead, please, ma'am.
Oh, hi, thank you so much. Nozi explained, thank you very much for the presentation as well. You actually explained shares very, very well. I really liked, now I understand it better, what are shares. But what I need to understand is what are easy equities or equities, because I always see people, we are always encouraged to also invest in equities. So what are equities? Because I now understand what are shares, which is much simpler. But yeah, if you can just help us with that one as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Manto. You arrived nicely on the right platform. And then Dr. Shep, Prof. Ubuza Uti, he's sorry that he came late. What is your view? I don't know about their view. Your view on cryptocurrencies. Yeah, you'll deal with that shortly. And then Ndimande, go ahead, my king, please.
Okay, so my question is just simple. Funugwazi Guti, since of the presenter, rather according to the presentation, right? You say that we need to diversify, right? So since diversifying is not immune to market crashes, right?
Mhm.
So, like, is there a way that, or rather, a strategy that we can, we can fight that, or probably the market crashes? Because let's say that I do have money invested right there, and then the market crashes.
Yeah.
What then should I do? What should I do in that? Or probably if there is a formula for us to fight that. Right. My second question, I think someone has already probably asked it. It was based again on a presentation. You said probably the financial assets which we probably could invest our money in. Which one probably, based on shares? I think also I saw property, even crypto. Which one probably would be the one that we should be probably based on experience? Which one basically it's more opportunity actions?
Okay.
Right. And then SK, I don't know if you put your hand down, my king. Okay, I believe his hand is still down for now.
Mhm.
SK, it's back up. I've asked you on mute to go ahead.
Okay, mine is a comment. I wanted to just say that I've noticed when it comes to investing, especially with people that are above 25, they go to the bank and they are told that they qualify for such and such.
Mhm.
And I'd like to say that there's a difference between qualifying for something and actually being able to afford. Because if they say you qualify for a R1 million house, it doesn't particularly mean that you can afford it. Because there are some people that they end up being in bondage, literally under the bond. So it's very important that when you invest, also take into consideration affordability, not just that you qualify. Thanks.
Yeah, it's powerful. Over to you, Nozi.
Lee, I did something to my Zoom and things have disappeared. So what are you seeing on your screen right now?
I'm seeing the compound interest calculator.
That's where you are. Goodness,
Yes.
you guys will have to forgive me. I don't know what I did. I hit something. I hit something and I'm not seeing my Zoom anymore. Like it's disappeared. So I can't even unshare the screen or whatever. But that's fine. The first question is, what is...
Okay. Yeah, you've just changed your screen to the Google main page.
Yeah, okay.
Is that what you want?
No, I've hidden my Zoom. So my Zoom, where I can share my screen and unshare, it's on.
Let me remove your co-host permission and then recount them again.
Don't. Okay. Yeah. Here we go.
Let me give them back to you.
Have you given me back?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not gonna hide this time around. Please enable screen sharing. You've disabled the screen sharing.
I have. You're co-host now. You can do as you please.
All right. Great. Share. Okay. The first question is, what is easy equity? What are equities? Okay. Equities, shares, stocks is the same thing. It's different words meaning the same thing. I'm just gonna, so this is easy equities where I invest personally, and a lot of people I'm sure invest on easy equities. I'm just gonna log in. Don't worry, you're not gonna see how much is here. I'm not like that. But I want to show you how the platform looks for those that have never seen. So this is easy equities. I've just logged in. Equities are shares. So you can see you can buy APSA. There's APSA. Some of you know it. All Joy, Alexander Forbes. So those are shares, right? That you can buy on Easy Equities. And there's a reason why I'm logging in, because I'm going to illustrate something. Cryptocurrencies, my view. Okay, cryptocurrencies are what we call alternative assets. And cryptocurrencies are new. There's not a lot of data dating backwards. And also, cryptocurrency is not yet regulated. So if you go to a financial advisor, they probably are not going to talk about crypto, okay? They'll say, if you want to go into it, but it's at your own discretion. So they won't even want to be tied to say they advised you to go and buy crypto. So this is my view. I know people are curious. This is what I'm going to say. Don't put money for your children's school fees, for buying a house, or for your retirement into crypto. I know people are like, yeah, no, crypto has made money. I know that. I know crypto has made people millions. People have become rich literally overnight on crypto. But when it comes to investing, you don't only focus on returns, but you must also focus on the downside. You must also, so it's not only returns that your eyes must be on. There's also called downside risk as well. And crypto is very, very volatile, meaning it goes up. It can go literally one day it can go up and the next day straight down, right? And a lot of people last week were crying. For those of you who are into the crypto space, they bought Luna Terra, and Luna went from whatever it was to almost zero, right? And there's the whole social media uproar now. They're trying to sue. I don't know who they're trying to sue, but someone is getting sued because people lost their money. They put millions in there and they've disappeared. Having said that, if you are curious, it's okay. Put some money there, but don't put your life savings there. So if you know you want to use money that you can afford to lose, like maybe 5% of your total investments can be in crypto. And the other percentage is in more regulated and more investments where we've got a lot of data. So going back years and years, hundreds of years, with investments that have been tried and tested. This is not to say crypto is bad, but the downside risk, you need to protect against that and put in a little bit of money. You know, it's okay. It's okay to be curious. What about crashes? I love this question. So stock market's crashing, you know, a lot of us are under 40, a lot of people on this platform, and some early 40s. So we're all quite young, right? And most people who started investing recently, so they've never experienced a crash before. And it's so new to them. They're like, actually, the stock market has crashed before. It crashed in the 1929 Great Depression, where there was food shortages all over the world, and people had to be rationed on how much food they can eat per day. So that was the Great Depression. The market crashed. The market crashed World War I. The market crashed World War II. The market crashed all the wars, Vietnam War, all the major wars, the market crashed. And let me tell you, each time the market has bounced back, each time. So by the market, now what do I mean by the market? I'll tie into the question that says, what to invest in. And anybody who knows me, I prefer to invest in what we call ETFs. ETFs are groups of shares. So instead of you picking one share or two shares or whatever, you just buy a bunch of them, right? Let me just show you. This is why I opened Easy Equities in the first place. There's an ETF. So if I click on ETFs, it shows me ETF. There's this ETF here called the S&P 500. I'll explain, don't worry. What is the S&P 500? It is a collection of America's 500 largest companies. They're all grouped as one. So buying at 66 Rand. So By you buying this at 66 Rand, you are getting tiny little pieces of Google, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, all the big, Amazon, Coca-Cola, Pfizer, all those big American, 500 of them, right? And you see now the market is crashing. It says -8. This is showing you the monthly movement of that price of that ETF. So if you had bought this ETF a month ago, you would have lost -8, but you don't lose until you sell. So the worst thing you can do right now to your shares, if you are an investor, is to sell, because you are selling at that minus, okay? If you had invested 3 months ago, -4%, 6 months ago, -16, I'm sure at this point, we're like, yo, this is a scam. If you had invested a year ago, you would have made 7.64% returns. But look at this. This is what I want you to see. If you had invested in the S&P 500 5 years ago, see, July 25, 2017, your gains would be 107.36%. What does that mean? You would have more than doubled your money. So even now, the markets are down, right? So you started investing down here when the ETFs were around 30 Rand. Today we are here. The ETF is 66 Rand. So you are still in profit, right? Because you bought at 30, today it's at 66. So you would have more than doubled your money. And this graph is so important to illustrate something. The stock market is not for 1 month, because in 1 month you can lose money, right? It's not for 3 months investing, because in 3 months you can lose money. Neither is it for 6 months, because in 6 months you can lose money, as you can see, -16%. But over the long term, so all these zigzags, guys, that you're seeing, it's the ups and downs of the market. That's how the market works. It goes up, then it goes down. But the trend, if you were to draw a line, the line would be going up, even despite those dips. So can you see this giant dip here? That was the 2020 crash. When all the world went into lockdown, all stock markets, including the American market, because the S&P 500 is from America, right? It went and dipped like that. At this point, if you had sold, you would have lost money. But if you continued investing, you are up here today. So you were down here in 2020, but today you're up here, right? So the longer you invest, the less the risk of losing your money. So the longer your timeline increases, the more your returns and the less risk of losing your money. But the shorter your timeline, then you can lose money. This is why I open Easy Equities, so that you can see how does this investing thing works. So personally, I cannot wait for payday, because these things have gone down in price. I mean, this is a discount. Think of it as a sale. So all these investments are on sale. It means when I'm now going in to invest, I'm buying at a cheaper price. And when the market goes up again, I'll be winning. Okay, so that's how investing works. And then lastly, affordability versus qualifying. Very excellent comment. Yes, it's true. If you qualify for a house or a car, whatever it is, make sure that it fits in with the rest of your budget. So you still need to eat. You still have kids who need to go to school. You still need to save. You still need to invest. And anything that you purchase must fit into that budget. So you cannot stop saving because now you've got a bond. You can't stop eating because now you bought a house for 1 million and you can't afford it. So make sure you buy below your affordability. Actually, the best thing to do is, if you qualify for a 1 million Rand house, buy a house for 700,000 and pay it off fast. And it's better that way. Yeah, I think I've talked enough. Over to you, Leanne.
All right, thank you so much, guys. Just to add a comment or two to the crypto conversation. The idea, just to give some context to it, the idea behind crypto is just a baby of what we call blockchain. Blockchain is actually a solution to all your privacy problems. What do I mean by that? Now, if you could just take your phone now and type quit, I'm going to quit. Ask Siri or Google to actually give you Ilona. Quit a red or whatever, 1 liter engine car. It's only a matter of time where every other ad on every other social media space, whether it's Instagram or TikTok or whether it's Twitter or whatever, you'll be bombarded with ads about cars that are small, that are economy, that are 1 liter engines, that are red or whatever. So with technology as things stand right now, you do not have privacy. You could ask about insurance. Before you know it, you'll be bombarded with ads that are going to tell you about all those things. So you don't have the privacy. So blockchain, we as a okay, fine, you know what? Technology is an open highway. Blockchain is more of a closed highway. It's protected, it's secure, right? Your data is safe. Your data is, nobody has privy to what you type about, what you speak onto your search engine or Siri or whatever. So it protects that. That's blockchain as a concept. Now, blockchain gives birth to currencies. And that's what we call cryptocurrencies. So your privacy continually extends to what? To currencies or finances, but it's not limited to that. There's what we call NFTs, where you protect artifacts. There's what you call, well, it can be anything. You can protect anything actually through blockchain. Your music rights, your design, protection, and privacy. So just to give a bit of context, picking up from where Nozi was saying, there's not much intel from a historical point of view. But when financial advisors, when you come to financial advisors, they say to you, you can go into crypto, but don't say you heard it from me. Don't take my advice because I never gave you that advice. But should you be aligned with the people who are able to inform you correctly, here's what a point or a principle that is ideal. And Unozi specifically said, okay, don't take your kids' money. Don't take money to extend your house. Don't take money to upgrade your car or whatever, and put it into crypto. Take maybe small portion, 2.5%, 5%, and so on and so forth. And that's how you're going to branch into this. I call it an investment strategy. And I'm choosing it very carefully. It's not an investment strategy because I'm not allowed today to say that, because like she has said, crypto is not regulated. It does not fall within the ombuds of the FSCA. It's not recognized. It doesn't have an FSP. Any institution that has an FSP does not identify with using cryptocurrencies. But when you do decide to branch into crypto, this is what you're going to do. You're going to take 2.5% of the money that you can afford to lose. And hear me very well. It can go well for you because many people are raising their hands today. They are wishing when Bitcoin was 50 cents and they knew it. They wish they would have stocked up 1 million of those Bitcoins. Unfortunately, people are waking up now. So when you take that 2.5% of the money that you can afford to lose, here's how you start saving money up in cryptocurrencies. You take the 2.5%, let's say Lotto, call it 5.5 thousand. Utata leo 50 rand, you take that 100 rand or 200 or whatever. There is a flow of money into cryptocurrencies. If Bitcoin will always have the largest market share because it is the mother of all cryptocurrencies. And what follows that is Ethereum, Binance, and then USD Tether. So of that 2.5%, every month when you set aside some pennies towards crypto, you take 40% of that portion, you place it, we call it, those who are privy to crypto and so on, we call it, it's simple. You buy and you hold. You buy and you hold. You don't buy and want to go show people that you've got a crypto card. You want to go and swipe and whatnot. You buy and you hold. You keep. Don't sell. So you take 40%, 40 rand from your 100 rand every month. similar to the concept that Nozi was giving us, over a 30-year period, 100 rand over every month, those 40 rands planted into Bitcoin every month, and God knows where you will be in the next 10 years with that little portions for which you'll be putting small bits and pieces of it. And please, this is not financial advice. I'm just giving you context on what cryptocurrencies are all about. So should you decide to have an appetite to launch into crypto, this is your strategy. So here's what you do not do with cryptocurrencies. Those who do know, you do not start and export your money from fiat. You start with all these other coins, Abo Luna, like she was saying, Manji, who knows. You don't start with your Lunas and your AVEX and your Solanas and all those coins, and then obtaining a Bitcoin. You don't do that because those other ones, there's not much research behind it except for the longest standing one, which is about 13 years, which is in Bitcoin. So when you do flow into the space of cryptocurrency, this is how you do it. So I'm going to stop that share. And I believe our conversation is coming to an end. We are done at this point. And I'm going to ask Lorna to give us any deliverables. Okay, fine. I don't know if Alex wants to respond to what I've just said. Yes. Do you want to get a chance to say some 2 cents maybe? Alex, go ahead. If I could find you. I don't know if Alex wants to say something. All right, I don't think he has anything to say. All right, so at this point, anybody who's got some parting shots, because I'm going to give back to Nozi to give us some deliverables and send us packing. And may we, I hope this was a productive conversation for all of us. And we learned and we picked up valuable gems for which we'll apply into our immediate life, immediately even. So do go. Okay, he's saying let's leave blockchain conversation for another day. Okay, thank you, Alex. We'll do just that. I couldn't let people leave with a not so proper understanding around blockchain and cryptocurrencies. But nevertheless, that's a conversation for another day. So anybody who's got a parting thought, that before I gave back to Nozi, because we are past our closing time. Any thoughts? I would expect to see anybody raising their hand, going once, going twice, and it's closed. Nozi, please send us packing deliverables with us.
Okay, it's either I'm a very terrible teacher or I'm a bad teacher. Okay.
No, you're a good teacher.
Okay, so what I'm going to say is inflation is not going to go away, guys. And, you know, I'm sure people can explain it better, those who've done economics. But essentially, when inflation happens because of several reasons, and in our case, it was spurred by COVID, you know, it was inevitable. It was going to come. And more so for those in the States and overseas where their governments were trigger happy and printing money all over the place, it's coming back to bite. So that's why we are experiencing what we are experiencing. But having said that, focus on what you can control. So in the economy, there are macroeconomic issues. These are to do with government and policy and, you know, things that are bigger than us. And then there's the micro, which is you, your budget, how you spend, you and your family, how you plan things. That's where I want us to focus on. You control what you do. So the government doesn't control your spending. They don't control, well, they might indirectly, but at the end of the day, the person who makes decisions is you. And I want us to make the right decisions with our money, and keeping in mind that inflation is here to stay. And the only way, if you've noticed, the only way to beat inflation long term is to improve yourself. So you invest in yourself by increasing your knowledge, either formally or informally. That way you are valuable to companies, you are valuable as, not valuable as a human being, but in terms of your skills. You can go anywhere in the world and be employable. That's the ideal, that I can work. And these days, global work is easy. People are working online. And if you've got the right skills, you can be earning in dollars sitting here in South Africa. And I know a lot of people who are doing that. If they've got the skill, they can do that. And you should aim to be, not confined to this economy. You should be so valuable that you can work anywhere. Another thing is you should increase your income if you're not earning enough. I know, and a lot of people are not earning enough. Increase your income, but increasing your income will not help if you don't put the brakes on how you spend. So sometimes we've got a spending problem. We spend what we're not supposed to be spending. So if your income is too little, please increase your income, but keep spending under control. And in the long term, to beat inflation, you should be an owner. Too many of us are consumers and we don't invest in anything at all. And the people who make it in this world, who make it in this life, they are owners. They are business owners, they are property owners. Those people make it. So if you can't own property yourself or business yourself, invest. And as I said, you can start investing 300 Rand or even less than that. Easy Equities actually allows you to invest cents. You can invest 50 cents. Okay, so invest in I say quality businesses, and I advocate ETFs, okay, which are baskets of shares grouped together, and have a long-term mindset. So don't look for gains tomorrow. This is for the future. So you are investing for the long term. And that's it from my side. I hope this was fruitful and understandable.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. So at this point, I'm just going to ask someone to wrap it up for us in prayer. Can I ask? Our cousin, we've never heard this someone's voice we've never heard. I'm just going to pick her or him. All right, she just disappeared on us. But nevertheless, let's go for Upoizi. Poizi, please invite us to the song in prayer, Malone. Boys, are you there? Okay, I think Boys has just disappeared. Do pardon us. Just looking for someone who was a little bit more interactive. Demanding. Can I ask you, my brother? There was song in prayer, just ask the Lord to carry us through.
Our kind Heavenly Father, I would like to thank you for this opportunity that you've given us, Father, for all this information that we have learned upon you. I'd like to thank you, Father, and nature, both ends to nature, and help us to make the right decisions and be what we learned, also actions and being opportunity to share to others. I pray and ask this in the mighty name of Jesus to pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, guys. So Unozi just shared the calculator on the chats for those who need it. Let me quickly share it on Facebook as well for the people who need it as well. Before I stop with the feed. All right, Bazalane, I'm going to stop the feed via Facebook at this point, we have our usual session. After what? It always gets the better of me. So after scenes, yes, after scenes. So at this point, as soon as I stop the live stream,